It is a research project, the Zero Accident Forum. It was invented by FIOH in 2003, so 12 years ago. And the idea is to bring companies with a Vision Zero culture together, so that they learn from each other, not in an individual branch, but with many different branches, and to implement such groups. That is the idea of the PEROSH project, to implement such groups in more EU countries. And so we have promoters of a safety culture in the different countries. Robert Besemer from TNO will inform us about the project. Robert Besemer has been trained as an experimental physicist at the University of Leiden and as a technological designer at Eindhoven University. And since 2008 he works at the Netherlands Organization for Applied Scientific Research, TNO, as a project manager in research projects related to safety in healthcare and occupational safety, mainly in high-risk industry and in building and construction. His focus is on human factors, safety culture, and connecting companies with different backgrounds to each other to promote sharing of safety-relevant information and experience. But before we listen to the presentation of Robert, we will listen to the presentation of Ludwig Berger. And because Ludwig comes from a company from the Monier Brass Group, working in a very dangerous sector, in the roofing. We have a lot of accidents in this area, and he built up for several years a Vision Zero culture in the Monier Group, which is a worldwide acting group. He is one of the members in our German Zero Accident Forum, which is a result of this PEROSH project. And I know him, and I know we can learn a lot from him, and we can learn that companies can need what we do. So that is exactly what we want, translational research. Ludwig Berger holds a master's diploma in mechanical engineering and plastic processing obtained in Germany. He worked for Siemens in the technical development and production operations in Germany and South Africa. He joined the Brass Monier Group in 1996 as plant manager responsible for a plastic processing plant in Germany. In 2004, he was promoted to Group Director HSE. 8,000 employees in 128 plants in 32 countries. He completed HLS studies in Germany and England and started the group HLS initiative with dramatically improvement. He developed the group HNS management system, roadmaps and HNS improvement programs. Several projects were completed with DuPont Safety Department in Switzerland, behavioral science technology in US, and the German Berufsgenossenschaft. Mr. Berger, I'm very happy that we have you here and can learn from you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I hope I can keep you awake after lunch. And I feel a bit like a white raven here with all these clever scientists in this forum here. But I show you a bit what we are doing for health and safety. I do not show you the perfect world. We have lots of problems also, and I will not hide them. Brass Monier is our group. We are internationally active. We have a turnover of 1.3 billion euros. Employees, we have 8,000 in 40 countries. We run 128 plants around the world, and group holding is in Luxembourg. So in Europe we are active in most or all of the countries. We are in Scandinavia, in England, in France, in Spain, in whole of Eastern Europe, so in Turkey, all what you see here, Russia as well. In the rest of the world we are in South Africa, in most of the Asian countries like India, China, Malaysia, Thailand and so on. What we are doing is roofing industry, so you'll see a couple of examples from different countries. The tastes are different, the cultures are different, and you find different types of houses. What we are doing in production is not only roof tiles. I mean, tiles is the main part of such a roof, but we are doing ventilation system, we are doing ceiling elements, abutments, we are doing snow and snow safety, gutters, valleys, solar fixings, underlay systems, e-fillers, fixings and so on, insulation, windows. So the roof is containing of much more parts than just roof tiles. Our challenges for health and safety. What Dr. Reinhardt said, we are about 8,000 employees in 30 countries. The business language in our group is English. But we have to deal with many different languages and many different cultures. It starts with different cultures in Europe. We discussed it yesterday in some of our circles, but also overseas in South Africa, in Asia and so on. The plant and sites we are running different technologies. So we have concrete tile plants and clay tile plants. This is the majority of our plants. We run plastic processing, steel processing, solar systems, chimney plants. And the average of our plants is quite small, so it's about 50 workers. The smallest plants have only 15 employees, the biggest one, some in Germany and France, we have 200 employees. So we have a lean organization in the plants. In most of the smaller plants, just two levels. We have a plant manager and a couple of supervisors, shift supervisors, maintenance managers in place. We have sometimes a safety person, which is limited training, and we have limited English language skills. This is what we are distributing on paperwork, on rules, on standards out in the world. It's all in English, certainly. It all has to be translated and understood. A couple of examples what type of accidents we are having. So this is during a cleaning operation. This is a slip-driven fall accident. I mean, this is a box on wheels. The guy slipped, fell over, broke his leg. We have 1,000 forklift trucks running, big ones in our plants for the loading operations. We have quite a lot of crashes. I mean, you can easily see this is maybe a type of maintenance delivery. We had no orientation where to go. He was just on the yard where these forklift trucks operating with just quite a high speed, and there was a crash. Luckily, I mean, the guy had a couple of broken ribs, but no serious accident, no serious injuries. Another forklift truck accident, high speed in a curve, and really sad. We had 3 weeks ago, we had a fatal accident in France where a truck driver, a delivery truck driver, was run over by a forklift truck driving backwards, and he died. This was the first fatal accident after 8 years in our company. In India, in Bangalore, electrical shock is 400 volts. I mean, 400 volts can kill you. The guy was also lucky he survived. Energy isolation, this is an automatic production plant. A guy went inside a fenced area. The tables started turning because energy isolation was not respected, and he suffered broken legs. Presses, we have a lot of automatic presses. During the running operation, they are quite safe, but when they change molds and tools in this type of presses, we are having accident. The guy lost a couple of fingers. We started taking safety serious in about 2002. I started in 2004. This graph shows, this is the international, let's say, figure, the lost LTIFR, the lost time incident frequency rate per 1 million working hours, and all the international companies are using this measure. So we can always compare each other internationally. In 2002, we had nearly 600 LTIs in a year, lost time injuries. So injuries where somebody has to be written off sick, have to stay at home or in hospital. Then we came down quite dramatically. And we had the best year in 2012, we had 36 accidents, and since then we are raising, and in 2015 we have already 50 accidents. We do not really exactly know why. But the economic crisis, which hit us quite hard, we were almost being bankrupt, so we had to delay a lot of people, we lost a lot of safety resources, we lost safety people. This was in 2010 around this. Then we were still improving for 2 years, unamazingly. And then we started to drastically to raise again. A bit of explanation. If you look for the seriousness or the severity of our accidents, in the best year, this is the graph I just showed you before, in 2012, we had the highest level of lost days per accident. So we started, the graph starts in 2008, we had 30, in the average, worldwide average, 33 days per accident. Then we dropped down its frequency rate. Then was a bit of raise to 41, and then we came down in the frequency rate, but the severity rate was raising. Yeah. Now we are on the trend, we have more accidents in 2013 and 2014 even now, but the number of lost days is less. We also do a bit of benchmarking internationally. So these are comparable companies in our industry, all internationally. Boral is Australian, Imeris is European, Saint-Gobain is a big French company. This is us, the ATEX group in Wienerberger. So we were somewhere in the middle. Presently we are almost on this level. The ATEX group was 2 years ago on 6, they came down to 3.6. So we are just watching this development to get a bit of benchmarking. If you look to the accidents you see on this list here, concerned body parts, by far leading is hand and arm injuries. Followed by foot and lower legs. We have a couple of back injuries, head, face, and other body parts. And by the main cause of accidents, leading is maintenance operations, cleaning and setup of machinery, what we do a lot. Material and product handling, falls from height, but most of them are from low heights, so from small platforms, from walkways and so on, so fortunately not from big height. Slipper and fall accidents, energy isolation, the safe isolation of machinery before you start a repair, and road and plant traffic, we have 3. I'll show you accidents. We certainly we have health problems as well. So we look certainly for manual handling, we look for noise, we look for chemicals, we look for dust, so we also watch this, but this is in our industry not really critical. Mechanical activities is the main part of our operation, and this is what the accidents are reflecting here. If we look to the root cause of our accidents we are having, center point is unsafe behavior. This is the main reason for accidents in the Brass-Mounier group. And we define unsafe behavior not only for employees. We define unsafe behavior also for managers. This means not the correct systems in place, and really failures of our safety organization and management. We are working together with the Zero Accident Forum and Professor Reinhardt since 2013. The key driver, the driving emission safety trigger point, was the high accident rate, what I showed you. We had several hundred accidents before, and we killed people. And this is unacceptable for our business. The main motivation to be partner or participant of the Zero Accident Forum is the cooperation with other companies. So I look for lots of contacts. I have already contacts. We are meeting each other sometimes. We are exchanging programs and figures and so on. So these companies like us, we think we are driving safety on a high level. And this is beyond legal compliance. This is not just fulfilling the legal compliance, but we talk about safety cultures and people involvement and leadership issues. what we want to achieve. So learning from the best, exchange programs and concepts across industries. This is our motivation. Our organization, I showed you the countries here on the left. We have 3 levels. This is the WARSAW, this is the group, this is the holding where I'm situated. I report to the group director, HR and organization. And I have a dotted line to all these safety experts in the country. So this is really my network on region and country level. So there is one person in my network working in each country. Not one of them is really doing 100% safety. This was before the economic crisis. Most of them were doing just health and safety, responsible for several factories, 6 to 8, depending on the country. All of them, they are doing in the meantime environmental issues, they do mechanical engineering or have other duties. So we don't really have a full picture, not full persons in each country. So they are here on the region level. They have a dotted line to the industrial director or a dotted line to me. And in the plant and sites, what I said, we are quite lean organized. We have a plant manager, we have a couple of supervisors, departmental heads. And sometimes we have a safety advisor in the plant. These persons have a couple of days training, so very basic. The English ability is quite poor in many cases. So on plant level, let's say our safety organization is not very well placed. My strongest instrument is my safety committee. So I selected 5 of the best health and safety experts internationally in my safety committee. This is led by me. I'm the chairman. This is for Northern Europe is Michael Sturm, he's German. For Southern Europe is Massimo Lancini and he's Italian. From Asia is a lady, Charimila Devi. Mark Piper from England for Western Europe, and from Chile is our big chimney business, Marcus Shaddock. So we actually do, this is my grip into the industrial world. These are my best professionals. We have two times a year we have a meeting. The next is next week. We have monthly conference calls, and we do actually all the programs, guidelines, standard health and safety standards, the annual objectives and all things like this. If you look to the cause of accident, I touched it a couple of slides before. About 10% is defect, unsafe machines and equipment. So this is not a big portion. The rest is 90%. What we call is human factors, and we call these human factors also for management, so procedures and organization, shortfalls of organization management, incomplete safety organization, poor supervision, unclear procedures, inconsistency, and so on. And on the human behavior side, we try to understand better what most of the companies are doing, the difference between intentional errors and unintentional errors. It's a big task because we have accidents. People in some parts they are violating the safety rules, they know exactly what they have to do, they do pipe bypasses, but we also have to deal with unintentional errors. So people are just making failures, mistakes, lapses, things like this. In our plants we try to execute at least these 5 what we call essential safety tools. I mean, beside training and other things we are doing. The first one is risk assessment. Accident is a proactive tool, certainly. The second one is reactive tool, is accident investigation. So we do root cause analysis for all of our accidents. We do certainly near-miss process, more or less successful. I'll show you a bit later on a couple of examples. We do safety dialogues. This is a top-down instrument where we try to influence behavior, to strengthen safe behavior and rectify unsafe behavior. And for the safe working conditions, we do workplace inspections. This is also proactive tool to rectify unsafe conditions, regular checks of safety aspects and so on. If you look to the accident pyramid, I mean, we do root cause analysis, so the, let's say, the incident investigation is more on this part, where already something had happened, fatal injuries or lost time injuries. We have the near-miss reporting on the bottom of the pyramid, and safety dialogues and workplace inspections. So we try to influence the bottom part of the pyramid, and hopefully we cut it on one side and make it smaller in all of these levels. Just a few core explanations. Risk assessment. This is here from my slide before, the first one. A proactive tool. So we are using, I mean, we have at least 50 different risk assessment systems in the world. We heard some of in the morning. So if in the countries where there is not a really good system in place, we are following this concept. So risk assessment method is define and understand the activity, identify the hazard, assess the risk, define control measures, reassess the risk, and documentation. So there's these key issues, and if we do risk assessments like this, we cover a very good part of it. I mean, this has to include maintenance operations, set up processes of the machinery, and so on. I mean, the main intention is for risk assessments to shift the risk with control measures down where we can say there's an acceptable level. We never come to zero, we know this. You can fall out of the bed in the morning if you still feel safe. But this is the control measures here are using. I mean, this is certainly a bit depending on the type of risk assessment, on the risk factors of the culture in different countries, where you set the acceptable level. The control measures, certainly technical, organizational, leadership, behavioral aspects we are using for control measures. Incident investigation. The first thing we do after an accident where somebody was hurt, we issue a safe accident alert. So this comes from the country to me. I do a bit of preparation for it and do a feedback. And then I send it out in the whole world, in every plant, in every country. So my whole network, including the top management of each country and also our board of directors in the group, get this accident alert. This is one page, not more. It explains the core, let's say the core facts of the accident. In this case was in Malaysia in March of this year, so we marked the category of the accident. And important is also the potential. I mean, sometimes we have just a near miss, no one was hurt, but the potential of the accident could have been fatal or major. Yeah, so this is a very important link, or let's say a thinking process we have to go through. So we describe a couple of facts of the accident, always a couple of pictures and corrective actions then. So these accident alerts are used in the plants and in the operations to start also safety discussions. Do we have similar situations? Can we have the same effect? Do we have the same hazard in our organization? The root cause analysis, I mean, this is show a picture from my training I do for root cause analysis. We have the direct causes, so this is broken bones, burns, cuts, things like this. We have the immediate causes, unsafe acts and conditions, use of wrong tools, poor maintenance, drugs or alcohol, a possible cause, defective PPE. And then we have the real underlying, the root causes, system weaknesses, no motivation, no clear instruction, no risk assessment, inadequate supervision and things like this. That's what we are calling root cause analysis, and what we really try to find out in the accident analysis we are running. We are using for this root cause analysis the Ishikawa method. For example, this was an accident, a crash of two forklift trucks in England. Both of the machines were written off, totally damaged, and both drivers had quite serious injuries. And you try to find out the facts, a root cause analysis, to make really a learning point on preventing the future this type of accidents. Was a head-on collision. The next one is near-miss reporting. There's a picture of a near miss in the Old West. I mean, everybody knows what a near miss is. Yeah? So it's here's the international definition. I just explain why we keep away a bit from this. That's our typical examples what near miss is in our industry. A forklift truck coming around the corner, or a hammer is dropping just from a lifting platform next to your body. This is a clear-cut near miss. We were struggling a couple of years with the process of near miss. It worked for a while, and then the managers lost interest, and the people lost interest, and the number of reported near misses went down. So we restarted the system again, and we went to a very simple A6, a small cardboard card with very limited information, because people don't like to write. If you come with a big paperwork what they have to fill out, they just don't do it. Yeah? So we extended also, we called it safety awareness card. And this is not only near misses, this is unsafe conditions, unsafe behavior, because finally it doesn't play a role. We want to involve the people, we want to put on the red lights in the head, we want to raise awareness, and finally it doesn't matter if it is really near miss or unsafe condition or unsafe behavior. So you can cross, these are our major, let's say, influence factors. You can directly mark them. You have a field for others. We can define if it is a high potential of hazard, which needs immediate reaction. Then you can have a brief description and also a proposal for solution. And a lot of these things you can immediately solve by colleagues or myself, so it means immediate solving of the problems. Otherwise you are producing long lists of to-dos, and you need resources in the maintenance department or in the workforce to solve these problems. And for additional taken on a higher level, there's a field on the bottom. So we tried to make it very, very simple. Safety dialogue, we use it as a proactive method. It's a top-down instrument, so safety dialogues is from superior to subordinate always. So the manager speak face-to-face at the workplace to subordinates. Do not call the people in your office. So you do the safety dialogues at the workplace in the environment of the people. So we discuss safe work practices, safety topics in the working environment. We want to promote and praise safe behavior and influence and correct unsafe behavior. This is the major, let's say, the purpose of this safety tool we are using. It's not only for industrial environment like plants, but we use it also for driving safety, for offices, sales, marketing, service department, logistics, and so on. So a couple of principles. It's not a safety inspection. We want to talk about the behavior, not safe conditions or working conditions. We want to talk about the behavior at the workplace. So we try to observe the people. We ask questions and let them explain the safe way, where safety aspects of the workplace. So this is a dialogue. And if you start it, in most of the cases are open, short discussions about the safety aspects in the behavior side. We give feedback to the persons, so we want to promote safe behavior, and we want to correct unsafe behavior. You can do such a dialogue and everything is in place, the behavior is correct, and this is more a praising or a promoting issue. Everybody notices if the managers do it, it is important for the managers. Finally, what's important for the managers becomes important for the people. And the employees have a good sense of what's important for the leaders. A couple of unsafe act safety dialogues. I mean, Susie sees these typical activities. Yeah? Here, the guy is using such a lifting equipment as like a skateboard. This is a maintenance operation. Everything was okay. So you speak to the guy, let them explain what he's doing in a safe way. So promoting safety. I mean, this is very unsafe what he's doing, standing in such a distance on the lorry. A maintenance operation, you can have a burn injury if you work like this, no gloves used, not incomplete PPE. This is the type of situation we want to rectify. Workplace inspections is the last one of these tools. So we talk about unsafe conditions. You find if you do inspections in an office area, in a warehouse, at a machinery, an open running knee point here. This is a maintenance operation. There's a machine guard in place, but it was just not put on after the maintenance operation. This is a warehouse, so a couple of typical situations for inspections. So we have in every plant, we have an inspection plan where we put the load of inspection of several shoulders. So you see a couple of famous names in this plant, and even Heidi Klum can do work in height inspections for ladders. So we can involve a lot of people. We can also involve office people for this type of inspections. There's also a frequency defined how often this should take place and documented actions. As an example for it. A couple of pictures of our people from South Africa, Poland, Indonesia, a training for a Chicago diagram, Bulgaria, Mexico, Malaysia, Sweden, Germany, Russia. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Berger. Do you have immediate questions? We can also discuss both presentations together afterwards, but do you have immediate questions to Mr. Berger? Please, Inga.
Inga Schaumburg from Denmark. We had an opportunity to speak in a taxi earlier.
Yesterday, yeah.
Yes. I would like to ask you, do you do anything to promote safety culture, and how do you work with safety culture in this different world?
I mean, the main part of safety culture is the leadership part. We want to, I mean, this is not in my presentation. What we are all doing is to enforce the leadership. We do it with trainings, we do it with motivation. We have annual objective for our managers to play the leadership part. We want to involve the people, like in the near-miss reporting system, people involvement. So you have to put on a lot of screws to what we understand under safety culture. It's not just one part. Yeah?
Maybe I can add a question to this point. The near misses. How do you motivate people to tell you the near misses? This is a critical point, I think.
In some of the business units, they have a little bit of monetary, let's say, motivation. They pay a little bit of money. In some, we had some trials where in one of the business units in Germany, they started with a big effort, and everybody got a little truck for the handing in of near misses. This lasted a while, but if there is not really a follow-up motivation, the interest is dropping down. And as more complicated the system is, as more is the lack of success. Yeah. And the people want also to see for the near-miss reporting, if I report something, they want to see what happens. I mean, I've contact to companies, they report per worker 10 near misses in a month, but then what is the follow-up? And who's doing all this work? This is the practical problem of it.
You're working across a whole range of different regulatory regimes around the world. So is there any evidence to suggest that those different regulatory regimes deliver different health and safety outcomes in your organisation?
I'm not sure about this. I'm not really interested in all the regulations of different countries, because I cannot handle them all and understand them all. So I try to use let's say the common safety tools, what I've showed you in a couple of examples. I do not look a lot about the legal regulations of the country. But I don't think there are big differences in the meantime. Even in Asia or in South Europe, I think the legal systems are quite similar in the meantime.
Danuta.
I have a short question. How do you recognize influence of your activities give bigger effect on employer or employees, on manager or on workers? Which way is more successful, in your opinion?
Both. I mean, they both have to play their part.
No, yes.
The managers, we have to give them safe workplaces. We have to fulfill all sort of obligations, but the workers have to work in a safe way when they know how to do it. They have to accept the training and they have to accept our rules, and we talk about a lot of discipline as well. I mean, looking away from the management side is a failure, overlooking unsafe acts, but we have to expect from our workforce to work in a safe way. And there we talk about discipline, and this can lead to firing people in the end.
And you are always successful because both the side is going in one direction after.
Yeah. More or less successful. I mean, not everywhere. The way to safety is a stony road, and I think for this type of industry I like simple systems, what our managers can manage and the people can understand. I don't believe in a lot of written words, a lot of paperwork.
Mary?
Hello, Mary Trainer from HSL. Really like your talk. Thank you, lots of insights. It was very interesting what you talk about with the safety dialogue and engagement with workers and getting their input for them to tell your managers what the issues are. And you talked a little bit at the beginning about health. I was wondering, do you also try and get health feedback from your workers? Sure. And do you find differences between awareness of workers on health issues versus safety? What are your findings there?
I don't think there is a difference. I mean, we have some plants that we have dust issues. We have some plants that are noisy. It's this type of safety dialogues we are doing. This is part of the dialogue. I mean, this is also brought up. So housekeeping and dust and noise and manual handling, all these things, what we are doing for the health issue as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Robert Bismarck will give us an overview what was going on there.
Thank you very much, Mr. Reinert. Yeah, there is some connection, because if you're talking about the zero accidents vision, you're not just talking about the accident pyramid that Mr. Baer showed us, but about the bottom of the pyramid, maybe below the bottom of the pyramid. And what is that below the bottom of the pyramid? Not talking about misses or near misses, but talking about factors that help you influence the safety, so to say, the safety level in the company. So that's zero accident vision. I'm from TNO. We have worked together with a number of companies, organizations, the HSL, the FIO, CHIOP here, the NRCWE from Denmark, DGUV from Germany, and Prevent from Belgium. So with 7 partners we have done this research. And I would like, well, the aim is, as I said, which are the success factors contributing to accident prevention, or, as I prefer to say, to improvement of safety. That's a positive statement. And I focus on commitment. Zero accidents vision is a commitment strategy, basically, and on safety communication, culture and learning, which were the 3 main items that we studied. I start with the end. At the end of the project not the end, but late in the project, we talked to many of those companies that were involved. Many companies were involved. I come to that in a minute. And one of them, their stories, a high-tech manufacturing company, said, well, health and safety is integral here. It is not an add-on. It's not something that we also do besides our core business. No, health and safety is embedded in the core business. Training and education, yeah, it's also training and education for people who are doing the primary work, but it also includes health and safety. It's not just production practices, but production practices include safety practices. It's not separated. It's one and the same. So health and safety as part of business excellence. And the mindset of people is zero. Not just zero accidents, but also zero waste, zero lean working. That's a zero view. And you see that this company had first priority, safety and health. Second priority, quality of the product. Third, reliability. And then ghosts as the last. Is that sustainable? Well, for this company it was sustainable to have ghosts there as a fourth priority. Implementation of change, it is top-down. Management is very important, but not top-down in the way as an authority and you have to do what I say, not in that way. It is a trainer, it's an in-company program, again, safety as part of your core business. The strategic planning, management review, creative audits. Auditing can be scary for people. You can be creative in that. And promoting safety awareness. Okay, that's one of those companies, a zero accidents company, with a zero accidents vision, who makes it, well, practical and all through the whole company, this vision. What have we done? The last, let me say, 2 years, almost 2 years. We have included 27 European companies from 7 European countries. These countries, the countries of the partners, of course. And we did a quantitative survey with almost 10,000 respondents. We interviewed 24 of those companies, people from different levels. And we had, well, those 27 companies had some different kinds of companies. 2/3 of the people, of the respondents here, were workers, 1/3 were managers or team leaders. So that's what we did. It was a mixed methods approach, so quantitative and qualitative, because these interviews and workshops, national workshops, each country one workshop, were meant to get a deeper understanding of the quantitative results. That was very useful. And this is a graph of my colleague Piet Kainz from NRCWE, in which I use to show you the results. I think that storytelling is very important here. Which are the practices? Which are the stories behind it? I come to that. I think this is my last methodological graph, so to say. We had 11 dimensions which we measured in that quantitative survey. We measured commitment. Are you committed to a zero accidents vision? Are you committed to safety for yourself and for your direct colleagues and for others where you work? And that's an organizational issue. Is the organization committed? And are you, as a worker or as a manager, the place where you work, are you personally committed to safety? Those were two dimensions which we measured. The scale is from 1 to 4. These companies were very committed. It's the average of all 27 companies. Of course they are, because we interviewed and collected zero accidents vision companies. So that's no wonder that we have a high score there. We asked communication issues. How does management communicate? What do you think of that? Or on an individual basis, communication of you with your colleague on all levels. Safety priority. What's the climate in the company? Is safety a priority? Is it on 1 or is it on 4? And do we start with cost and efficiency? Justice. If I do something wrong, what does my manager say to me? How does he react? Is there a just culture? Those questions. So there. Then empowerment of workers. No. Empowerment of respondents, sometimes managers, but for 2/3 workers. Empowerment is very important. Autonomy. If I think that something is not safe, can I stop work? Have I the authority to do that? Can I say to my colleague, which might be higher than me, that he is working not safe? Is that safe to say that? Can you really are you empowered in your company? Learning actions, or learning based on actions. If something happens, if you take actions to improve safety, do you learn as a company? Or do you learn as a person or as a small team only? Or do you learn for this situation only? Or do you think broader than that? That's learning. Well, safety, climate as a group. What is the climate in the group? Your plant, for example, or your team, if it's a large team. Learning conditions. Are we able to learn in our company? That's the conditions part. Are there procedures or approaches in place to learn from what goes wrong, but also to learn from what does not go wrong, but might have gone wrong? And resilience. Resilience is a complicated one. Expect the unexpected. Yeah, that's very complicated, but how can you prepare for things that might happen that you do not foresee? Resilience. The lowest scores on resilience, it is not a miracle, I think. I think resilience is one of the issues for the future in this. Beyond zero. Yeah. You see that commitment was very strong. We have committed companies and committed individuals there. But I would like to go on to success factors, because why does a zero accidents vision help? Which are the factors that really improve safety? I'm not going to read it aloud for you. You can read it, you can take it home. I think you take all presentations home, so also this one. I just pick some. An effective supervisor communication, for example. The team leader, the supervisor, whatever you call him, so the lowest manager, so to say, is a key person in the company. He is the link between the worker and higher management, normally. And he is the one whose communication skills are very important there. And therefore this is a success factor for the implementation of a zero accidents vision. Learning, top management support. Mr. Berger said it already. If there is no management support, if there is no leadership, or if leadership is weak, then it will be very difficult to get safety improved or to work with a zero accidents vision. So top management support is crucial. And here is one: focus on things that go right. That's more or less below the bottom of the pyramid. Learn from near misses, but also learn from things that do not go wrong. Why do we never have a problem with transport systems, or with cars, or with rails and wagons there, and why don't they collide ever? We see those problems in other companies, we don't have it. Why is that? What system do we have in place that accidents do not or almost not happen? That's another way of thinking. But this helps you to improve further and further. Because the zero accidents vision is a vision, I always say it's a vision, it's an ambition. It is, maybe it's not a target, because a target which you will probably not reach in short time is a difficult target. But it is an ambition, and you can always get better and get closer and closer to zero. So that's the vision, and focusing on things that go right helps there. Safety dialogues are already mentioned. Other success factors, What I said, prioritize safety also under production pressure. You have to handle those two conflicting requirements, production, safety. Sometimes they are not so conflicting. For example, if you have a safe process in process industry, the safe process means a process that can go on and on. And if there are safety issues in your process, you might have production problems also. And then safety and production efficiency are more or less the same. But in building companies, often it is different. If you are fast, that's efficient, but it's not always safe. Oh, I'm a bit fast here. I'll try to go back. Yeah. Okay. Then I mentioned the no-blame culture and an open atmosphere for communicating about safety and empowering workers. So those are success factors, cultural success factors. That's this quantitative survey. Then qualitative part, we did a lot of interviews and we talked to a lot of people from those companies, and they all had different good practices, how they wanted to improve safety and to close in on zero. Again, integrate the zero accidents vision in your policies, in your strategies, in your other zero commitments, in the way that you work as a company as a whole, and include it in your primary processes. It is an explicit part of your strategy and values. So it's all through your company. Then you cannot lose it anymore because you are, or zero is part of the company. And there are guiding principles, but not too many. If you have too many principles, that's can be a bit confusing. Focus is important. Culture practices. Again, the first line manager, so to say. Leadership is important here. What your manager does, I copy. And the workers copy the manager. It's not always so straightforward, of course, but in general, if what the manager does is acceptable, then it's for me also acceptable. If he crosses the lines, I will cross the lines, because he cannot say anything of it. So, empowerment not of workers only, but also of managers, of first line managers is crucial here. Safety should be an issue which can be freely discussed. No blame. Here we have, well, I start with the last one. This relates a bit to the Zero Accidents network that we have in the Netherlands, for example. A network with business partners, or a bit broader, with other companies who have zero accidents vision. Because if you network with them, then you learn from other companies, from other sectors. And this gives you many eye-openers, many new insights, how you could further improve your safety and get closer to zero. Try to be creative and to follow unusual ways. And contacts with others will help you follow unusual ways. Building companies that are in contact with, what's it, process industry, for example. The approach is very different in the kind of industry that you have, but the zero approaches are not so very different. But the way they handle that and the way they implement their safety practices, then different companies can learn very much from each other. As I said, it's not a goal or an objective. Zero accidents is a vision that we all have together in the company. And that should not be just a vision, it should be communicated. Top down, from down to top, and horizontally, all through the company. So we're talking about active communication, dialogue, all levels involved. Again, the supervisors, I emphasize it quite a bit because they are very important. The supervisor as a link between workers and management. So, it is a mission not impossible, but that the mission is, that the target 0 is, I should not call it a target, doesn't say that the mission is not impossible. The mission is not about the target. The mission is about the road that you follow. And if you follow that road, which goes down, we were talking about the tail this morning, about that tail, and that very low tail, when you get really close to the to your ambition, not to your goal, but to your ambition. Well, that's the road to go. So, it's a mission possible then, eh? It's a road to 0. This is the Dutch Zero Accident Network logo. And here we have a Beyond Zero logo. Because what's Beyond Zero? Maybe that is something we focus on preventing accidents, working safely. But if you're talking about health, that's a bit difficult, a bit different. Again, in the Netherlands, we have an issue with chrome paintings that they used with defense, in the defense industry, and people get sick, but that's decades after they have worked there. Is that an accident? No, it's not an accident. It's not in the statistics, but it happens, huh? And it's a health issue, and it's a long-term issue. I'm not really in health research, so I won't say too much about it. But I think that Beyond Zero has something to do with that part. Improving health, improving, empowering people to work longer. We have to work longer until 65, 67, 70, 75, I don't know. Until we are older. That's also a Beyond Zero issue. It's not preventing accidents, it's improving life. Alright, well, this success story I told you already, so I have a second success story. Management as a role model. Management shows commitment, the company shows commitment. Sensitive to hazards and eager to reduce risks. We have not asked, I don't know. I hope that they are also eager to improve safety, which is the positive wording for this. They use a safety parkour. A safety parkour, every worker can go through a parkour, through some steps each year in the company, or each 2 years, or what you like. And it consists of exercises, information sessions, queries, tasks. Maybe e-learning modules can be included here. Ideas. So safety is repeated over time. If I hear something one time, it doesn't work. If I see an advertorial for something that I should buy, I don't buy it. But if I see it for the second, the third and the fourth time, maybe then I don't forget it anymore. And maybe if I walk by that store, yeah, I go for it. So, therefore, safety is not one-off, it is repetitive. Okay, the workplace, outside company hazards. We're not talking about the company itself. For example, commuters. For example, how do you, if you're working at home, not everybody can work at home, but most of us can also work at home. You're still working. What kind of computer or chairs or tables are you using there? Your car, etc. So it's not only on the location of your company. And they have a test. Well, that's what this company did, and they had a decrease of accidents in only 3 years, 1/3 down, which is very nice. Safety was improved there. So which are the challenges there? From a business priority, which is very nice, to a company value, which is deep into the company, deeper into the company. And then as I said. It's not just safety, it's not just accident prevention, it's also health, it's also environment. Maybe also part of the beyond zero. Develop safety management. Processes should not be complex. That card that Mr. Berger was showing, the safety card, I can find it here. The safety awareness, thank you. The safety awareness card. Yeah, it is a simple card. A few issues, you can fill it out in 1 minute. That's what you need. If processes or procedures or cards are too difficult, nobody uses them. Or they will find a workaround. Yeah. And here, safety is part of your core business. It's not an add-on. It is part of, and that's important. If it's part of, you cannot lose it, because if you lose it, you lose your primary process. You don't want that. So it's a mindset. We must work safe. We want to work safe. Internal motivation. It's an attitude, behavior of supervisors and team leaders. Well, I stressed that enough. No. And what are we doing this all for? That's what we are doing it all for. We don't want to get hurt or to get ill, but to go to the beach with our families. Alright, thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Robert, for this nice summary of a PEROSH project. I have one. You have interviewed about 10,000 people, but you did not show the standard deviations in your card. Are there the deviations? Are they big, or is there a big difference between the 11 aspects?
What I know is that they are all significant, at least. So the differences, the correlation of are significant. I have not shown standard deviations in the graph here. We have them in the report. In the end, there will be a report. It's almost finished. A few weeks, I think 2 weeks. So that's the reason. It is true that commitment, the two commitment, I can show them. The two commitment dimensions were higher than the others. That was significant. What was not significant is the difference between the rest. There it is. The difference between the rest, they are all very close to 3.2, as you see. Resilience was lower. Commitment, the first and the second, were higher, and the other were quite close to each other. Workers score lower than managers. I didn't say it, but that's true. I think that's always everywhere.
No, but the difference is low.
But the difference is low, those differences are not significant.
Thank you very much for a nice presentation. It's really a nice figure to see that the managers and the workers, they have the same view of how zero accident is, or accident management is worked within in the industry. And I find that interesting, even though the workers have another opinion than the managers in the gratitude or the strengths of the way they work with it. So that's fine. You have, I think, 24 workplaces that took part in the interviews. Was it hard to get workplaces to take part in this study, and what type of industries did take part in it, and who refused to take part?
It was there were some companies that we asked that did not want to take part. Not too many. I'm lucky that it's not too many, but some of them were. Some of them had a difficult time for themselves. They were zero accident companies, so to say, or zero accident fishing company, but they had all things going on in difficult times, so they didn't want that. Was one of the reasons. And some others, you asked what kind of companies were involved here. Well, as you saw, some of them were construction and manufacturing were the two most, yeah, there they are. So we have manufacturing, which is assembly, for example, and construction companies, building, construction, and other, that's various. There was a hospital, there was a charity organization.
Hello, David Fishwick from HSL in the UK. Just to make a comment really that in the UK we've made massive inroads in the reduction of people who die in workplaces, but we still estimate there are tens of thousands of people who get sick. So as a practicing clinician I would say that that's not a beyond zero issue. I think there's a parallel track and it would be fascinating to repeat the same process in health, because I suspect we are really very early on in our aspiration to get to zero people made sick by their workplace, but very advanced in our safety thinking.
Yeah, that's an interesting comment, yeah. From the point of view of accidents, it might be beyond zero. From the point of view of health, which is all about, it's not beyond zero, of course, no. I agree. Yeah.
Pauline?
Yes, I have a question for both of you, because this was a PEROSH project to add some research and more quantitative data to a vision, which is in the separate countries there. In Finland it's very big, in Germany it's starting, and we talked a little bit beforehand, and I asked, is it going on when we're not there to do anything? Is it a self-empowered network, and what is for maybe a hindrance for, I mean, how do the companies look upon this zero accident vision, and how they will continue when they're not scientists or others trying to get them to meet?
That's a very good question. In the meantime, you want to think about it, but let me start a bit. This is difficult, huh? Is safety already in the core business? That's related. If safety is in your core business, that means that this is part of your core business, and that you try to work together with other companies in a zero accidents network, forum, group, to learn from each other and to help each other attaining almost zero. But they need somebody who organizes this. It needs to be organized. And if one of those companies has to organize everything, this doesn't work. You have to do something for that. So they have to hire somebody to do that, then it costs money. And this is a bit difficult. In the Netherlands, I talk for the Netherlands, I don't know how it's in Germany.
I mean, I met a couple of companies who have the same approach. We have already contacts beside the official meetings, meet regularly, we exchange ideas and programs. So I think this is a bit of a fundament which is already in place. But I think we are still in the starting phase, at least in Germany. It's not really settled, the whole thing.
Our group is independent of the PEROSH project. That was a starting point. But we in Germany we will have a campaign by the DGOV, a 10 years campaign on safety culture, preventive culture, not only safety, also better health. And because of this campaign, the Zero Accident Forum fits perfectly in this. So we will finance this. There's not so much to finance, it's an experience exchange. So you come to the group meetings. The only thing we have to do, we have to organize the group meetings, and that is what we do.
So maybe we should connect the morning lecture and the evening and the afternoon lecture, and that we need more of a commitment, social media communication strategy. So
yes, that's good.
Would that be something to think of?
A Twitter site, what would I say about your presentation? I think you could say, for instance, learn quickly about the success factors for implementing your program. Or you could break it apart and say, what are the 3 cultural factors that are key to it? In other words, you could have 7 individual pushes for the same message to get people to your site. But I think there's a lot more creative people that can think about what you would do to get people to pay attention to your message. But it was a great presentation. Thank you.